What's up, nerds? Welcome to our next summer read review. On today's docket is Have Spacesuit Will Travel by Robert Heinlein. This is a science fiction novel from the golden age of science fiction. It was originally published in 1958. Basic premise is high school student Kip Russell wins a spacesuit in a contest and then through happenstance has an intergalactic adventure. Sounds pretty great, right? It mostly is. Look, this is a good book, not a great book. It's essentially the equivalent of a 1950s B sci-fi movie. And I'm okay with that. I like 1950s B sci-fi movies, and I liked this book. Where it really shines is with the science. Some of the science is outdated. Remember, this was published in 1958. For instance, I remember a specific instance where Kip mentions his asbestos boots, and I had to put the book down and start laughing because it just jolted me back into the fact that this book was published a very long time ago. It gets some other things wrong, and that's just a product of it being from 1958. But the science is so well interwoven into the story that it's very easily digestible for the reader. And that's a really good thing because the science helps to ground what is a really fantastical story that's about going to other planets and other galaxies and meeting aliens. Where the story kind of struggles is with its characters. We have two main characters, Kip and Pee-wee. Kip is our main character. He's our protagonist. He's funny and smart and very engaging, and he's also the reader's eyes into this fantastical realm. And I mean that literally because this story is told in the first person narrative. Pee-wee is his sidekick. She's a young girl who's plucky and a super genius and a little arrogant. Their interplay with each other and their chemistry is really, really great. However, much like Sleeping Beauties, this story struggles with its antagonist. There is a main villain, to be sure. However, I couldn't tell you what his name is. I couldn't tell you what his motivations are. He's in the story so little that it's almost like he's just filling a plot point of there being a villain. And I'm just someone, I need a strong antagonist to drive a story forward. Not everybody is like that. I've read other reviews of this book, after I finished it, of course, where other people really like that it was more about the environments that Kip was going through. And to be fair, those are interesting. It just doesn't do enough for me to really engage me in a story. The other main critique I have of this story is this felt like a really long introduction to a much larger story. Towards the end, we're introduced to this other galaxy and to this other civilization where there's even a whole intergalactic tribunal that happens with a judicial system that is vastly different than our system here on Earth. I was really engaged and enthralled with that. But just as these greater elements are introduced, Kip and Pee-wee go back to Earth and the story ends. Heinlein gives us this view of this main course that's coming, and then it's just ripped away. I kind of wonder if this was meant to be part of a larger story, and then just through the circumstance of having to meet deadlines and being in an anthology magazine originally, if that just never materialized. And ultimately, I suppose I'll never know, and I'll just have to live with that. Look, this was a fun book to read. It's a fun, quick read. It's a great romp with an adventure, but it's just lacking in some of those larger elements that really makes a book just pull you in, and it just didn't do that for me. Again, I enjoyed it, but I wanted so much more. And because of that, I'm awarding this particular book as 2 bookworms out of 5.